In this video, we are going to talk about texturing in Blender. Well, before we really get into the program and to start doing a lot of nodes into building the textures for each materials, we really need to understand some general concept and what actually make the texturing magical in 3D, turning into photorealistic items in a photo. There are two major factors. One is the programming of the nodes. So these are considered as nodes, and these are the lines considered as noodles. So we're just hooking nodes. We're basically programming a texture outcome. So that's kind of like the big part of it, is basically what actual physical material is made of by programming. The other thing is also very important is lighting. Within different lighting, the same texture is going to look very different. We need to recognize these factors. When we actually start programming, we can do it right. So we're just going to keep scrolling down this until we continue to see what we're actually talking about. For lighting and programming, so we're just going to talk about first factors about lighting. So for lightings in 3D, we have like a couple of lighting method. One is called HDRI. So basically for HDRI, what is the HDRI? Is a high dynamic range image, which actually introduce a sort of environment, and you can have the same lighting just like your items are sitting inside that environment, the room. But in general, for our photorealistic product rendering, we are trying to do just using this as a general ambient light or a fill light. It's not supposed to be a key light because this has very limited control. Because think about, I put items in the HDRI environment. Sometimes the environment doesn't have a really good color cast, or it's difficult to manipulating the direction of light. It's causing a lot of problem. So eventually we want to do is we're going to introduce or creating studio lighting, which is what photographer does. We can actually using light modifiers to really getting precise light control and getting the final render out. The name of being key light is talking about being the main light. So eventually for the lighting part for our scenes, we are going to use studio lightings and as our main primary light, and HDRI just can be a temporary lighting solutions when we are building the scene. We just want to have some light to be visible, and then just general fill. So right now I can see here on the right hand corner, this part is already on the render view, but nothing going on here. It's simply because this is just a cube sitting in the environment. There's no light whatsoever. The first thing we want to do later when we actually start texturing our models with the wine bottles, we are going to use a similar method, so which is actually having HDRI image to build in. Here you can see here, this is called a shader editor. So this is kind of things you can change to the 3D viewport and go back to shader editors. And apparently you should notice what I'm selecting now, this is the world instead of object. So I'm actually want to texturing the world, which is the 3D port. Here I'm just going to adding a HDRI image with it, and gonna click that. And after you enable your node wrangler, you're gonna hit Control T to actually having a couple nodes come out. And the next thing we are going to do, we're just going to open a environment texture, which is the HDRI image we want. So we're going to go to the file, finding the HDRI image we want. You can see everything else. And next thing we will do, just go to the tab, go to film, and enable transparent. So now you can see we have the light around here. So this is kind of the general rule that how we use HDRI just for temporary lighting solutions. So go to the next part. So another big factors influence textures in the Blender is the nodes, the programming. Apparently for the programming, we have two ways of program the actual texture. One is called PBR texture, the other one is called procedural texturing. So if we go to the the programming nodes. Procedural texturing is all math based, so we're still using all these nodes like tiny boxes, but we're just gonna use some general default texture, and then just gonna do add on, multiply, blah blah, and the less than whatever. It's just gonna using a mathematic way to calculate the texture and to generating certain patterns to do that. Well, these can be very technical to learn and difficult to control. But if you really get into this type of way to programming texture, this is really a bulletproof version, because once you build it in, it's very easy to use it, and you can generating some amazing texture out of it. But sometimes, think about it, but it's not really like photorealistic. Some textures does not really exist in the real world. For example, a lot of CG movies and scenes, they're building Mars or different planet, and they're using different textures. You can use this way to do that, to kind of building some very authentic look of a texture. That's why I put an emoji over there. That's not something we want to talk about it. And it's take a lot of time, energy to getting it right. So we're really into that. It's called the PBR texture. What is PBR? It's physically based rendering texture. So was that still doesn't really explain a whole lot. Basically, from my understanding and experience, is basically we're just using pictures or maps to building the texture. As you can see here, these are still the node trees, so we are going to talk about these for our label texturing. You may thinking, well, Wenbo, this still looks very complicated, but actually it's not. So I will explain what's going on here. So when you're talking about the maps, so the maps are just a bunch of images, I would say, but the images have different functions. There are tons of names of it. I just listed popular names and out there on the market. If you actually go in, purchase some textures online, texture over here, let me go. This is called Polygon. This has a lot of textures that can purchase and do. It doesn't really matter, but as you can see here, these are the texture already built. What we can do here, if we click here, and you will see download options. If I click, that will be all the names and displacement, gloss, normal, reflections, bump note, or ambient occlusion. With all these about the names of this type of maps. So right here, I list over here. But they're so confusing for beginners, and you don't know which one to use. So basically, the diffuse map, or people call it a color map, is basically it's more like a real, very close to a real photo color. So this is kind of a texture map of stone, a wall, and then this is very close to our real photograph. The other three type of maps, or is called bump map, normal map, or displacement map. These are the maps that actually giving the material more details because it has some contrast from highlight to shadow, so you can see that. So I will actually get into that more details when we're playing with that. But all these three, bump map, normal map, and displacement map, they're working very similarly. Especially these two are very similar. But as you can see here, the color looks very different because for normal map, usually it's a kind of purple-ish color, a special type of images, and the bump map is usually black and white. For displacement map, it's usually to working with already have existing vertices and geometries that you actually physically change the geometry shapes. And these two are just using highlight and shadow to fake the illusion that the texturing has some certain bumps. So we will get into that. But I just want to let you know, all these three have a very similar functions. So sometimes probably you definitely need the color of a diffuse map, and then one of these or two of them should be fine. And the roughness, and they're just gonna show you still kind of black and white kind of color, and it's just gonna show which part of the texture is going to be rough, which part of the texture is going to be smooth. Similar to the specular and reflections. They are kind of counter effect. And there's another one, it's called ambient occlusion. So this is another thing that we kind of stopped using that. It was a long time ago that was introduced quite a while. When you're purchasing the textures online, you still be able to find something like that. But in the Blender, we don't really use that very often. And as you can see, the name is talking about ambient occlusion, is talking about ambient light. So without any other ambient light, this map doesn't really do a whole lot. But I wanted to let you guys know what's available, and also the important ones, definitely the color one, the bump normal displays, that's then the other one, and the roughness and the specular or reflection, they are not that much compared to these two big part. Okay, so that's kind of what I want to talk about before we're really getting into the texture. So I just want you to truly understand the relationship between the programming and the lighting, and how can we control that and why we do that in our next video. Okay, thank you for watching. I will see you in the next one.